Lord Meher, Volume 3, page 1112.
Okay.
Lubaji, Bhiwa, Chandar, Banaji, Karani also would not stop crying and threatened to leave. But Baba consoled them, and in the end they obediently joined Mer Ashram. Changdev and Genu begged the mandali to plead with Baba to forgive them. Baba called both before him at 4 o'clock. Changdev said that he would be his servant until death and prayed that Baba overlook his past mistakes. Feeling their sincere, tearful entreaties, Baba forgave them and allowed them to remain in the Prem Ashram. Now this is pretty awesome stuff here, you know. But these kids really, were so overwhelmed, with grief over what they'd done, that they're all begging Baba to give him one more chance, Wow, and this kid is saying he would be Baba's servant until death. The rest of the day was filled with cries of repentance. Those boys who were transferred wept bitterly. Hari nearly went mad with grief, tying a scarf around his neck to choke himself. After another ruckus, Baba decided to keep Shapur, Bansi, Jamshed Gustad and Jamshed Namdar separate in the Mehrabad section of the ashram. Raghunath was ordered to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and meditate. Baba gave some of the boys his kerchiefs, bottles, dishes, photographs and other personal items to pacify them, and at 5:30 that evening all were dismissed. Wow.
When I think about this period and how Baba was so involved with these boys, I really confess to you, I never dreamed, I never read the Prem Ashram years.
Yeah.
I have to confess to you.
Subs and Throbs.
I never read it. And I took it quite lightly. I thought his school was there.
Yeah.
Baba was like somewhat of a mentor. I never knew he was this involved. I never knew that this was actually a stage of his life. In other words, like the new life, the fiery free life, the life in seclusion. Yeah. The Prem Ashram was actually a profound, important part of his whole advent, his ministry.
Yes.
And I think
it was like the first thing he did after collecting his mandali was to establish this. And there's a really interesting...
There probably could be what did you say, the interesting story?
Well, Aluba, was actually Muslim. There was a prophecy by the Prophet Muhammad where they asked the Prophet Muhammad, how will we know when you are back? And the Prophet Muhammad, did you remember this? You don't remember Aluba telling us this? Well, Aluba, because he is Muslim, he knows this prophecy. Yeah. Because, there's I won't go into that whole part of it where the 13th Imam, and they say, how will we know when you're back? And the Prophet Muhammad said, you will know me because the law, even if I am right, the law will go against me. And he used this in sort of analogy that he would be like a shepherd or a goat herd, which, if you look at it a little carefully, it was the Prem Ashram. He had these kids with him, and he was like their shepherd or their goat herd. And that you'll see that the court goes against Baba when Ali's father wants him. So they say, because what the Prophet Muhammad was saying, that injustice will be so great that even if someone is right, the law will judge against him. So he said, that's how you will know me. That's how you will know. So that's why the Muslims who really know that prophecy, if they come across this story, and they would know that this is Muhammad come again, because he had said this is how you would know him. He said, this is how you will know me.
Is this mainstream Mohammedanism, or is it just for the mystics, the mystic Mohammedanism? Because, if Muslims, maybe, I don't know if Kathy or these other Muslims know this.
I don't know.
Maybe Kathy may know it, because those that are very close to Aloba,
yes,
I'm sure have heard the story. He's probably spoke, in fact, in Farsi to them.
Yes.
Well, that's an amazing story. That could really get to...
And he was a part of it, you see. He was a part of it.
He was part of the prophecy.
Yes, so he was part of the prophecy. He was part of the prophecy of Muhammad.
You know, that's... Aloba was part of the... Was he a Meher or Prem ashram?
He was,
No,
I don't know, but he
I
was...
I don't think he was in the Prem. I think he stayed in the Meher ashram.
Yeah.
Because I don't see his name in the Prem.
Well, it's Ali Akbar. It is here.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, he's part of the Prem.
Yes, yes, he was in the... Yes.
God, that's...
So, I mean, he's very precious because, he's Muslim,
Well, he's the last Muslim left of the mandali, isn't he?
Well, yeah.
I mean, he was
really the only one for
Muslim.
most of the...
The rest were
Ramju was...
But the rest were either Hindu or Zoroastrian.
Right.
Well, Christian from the West. Duncan and whoever else.
Exactly. So it's a profound prophecy. If people, because in Jesus' case, he said, I will come again in clouds of glory, which meant he would not hide who he was, but we wouldn't see him. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we know, and we tell any Catholic, this is Jesus come again. They can't see it, because it is the clouds. They cannot see. See, so that, Baba says, he will come in clouds of glory. This is the prophecy I grew up as a kid with, knowing. You probably too.
Yes. So what I'm trying to get to the point here, though, then about back to the Islam thing.
Yes.
What is the belief of the Islam? Is Islam? Do they believe in a Messiah coming back?
Yes. Muhammad. Yes. Yes.
So they believe their Muhammad's coming back.
Right.
It's not another God.
No, it's Muhammad coming back.
And
they said, how will we know you're back? And he said this story, exactly this story.
This is an amazing story Mark just said about Baba being somewhat like a shepherd with these Prem ashram boys, because he nursed them like a little flock, and then of course he got involved with the law in regards to Ali, and his parents and authorities, and it was prophesied by Prophet Muhammad that when he came back, he would be in a sort of like a shepherd. Right. He would be in extreme. What he said about the law will be so against him.
He says, "You will know me because the law will be against me. Even though I am in the right, the law will be against me." See, meaning that the world was so out of whack that honesty and truth did not prevail. You know what I mean? Because he was showing.
That's how we live now.
Definitely. But see, Loba, one of the Prem ashram, who's now one of Baba's,
Mandali,
who was a Prem ashram boy, related this, I guess, to Mark
but to a bunch of people.
To a bunch of people.
I don't know. I thought you were there.
I don't know if I heard.
Yeah.
I may have missed it, because that is such an awesome thing. Because Mark was saying, is mainstream Islam or Muhammadans found out about Baba now through this story, they would be very, very all blown away by it, saying, let's read about his life. Let's find out about it. It's Muhammad. Who would have been the nation of Islam would, be connected, and they would find out that he is the one.
Yes.
Of course, that would be difficult to get.
Well, I'm sure Al-Loba uses this to illustrate to the Muslims that come.
I don't know if you were there. It was a year or so ago. Just before a Lord Mayor meeting, some gentleman came in. And he said, I've had a tough day. He was a Muslim man from the valley. He says, I've heard about your Baba, and he claims to be this. He says, but, Muhammad is Muhammad, He tried to give me a big lecture on
that Muhammad is the real prophet.
Exactly. He says, he's probably a good man, a holy man, and so forth.
But Muhammad is the true prophet of Allah.
He kept on telling me this and that. So I listened to him, and he told me about his hard day and hard times. He was losing a business, But it was funny, though. He was a Muslim guy. And he was very staunch, and he says, no, you can't tell me. There's only Muhammad,
Yes, the true prophet of Allah.
But you can see his fervor.
Yes.
And they are very, very,
fanatical.
Yeah.
Very fanatical. They pray very devoted. Anyway,
But if they were to read, know the story, that this is Muhammad come again. This sort of is an affirmation to me, knowing that, that Muhammad had said this, and whenever I come across this, I always remember that. Because, Al-Loba had said that, They said the Prem ashram was really Baba fulfilling that prophecy of Muhammad.
You see,
letting the world know he was here. You see, and the Christians can't see it. No one can see it. You know what I mean? It's like that, those clouds of glory. He is not hiding. It is our own ignorance that hides him.
It blinds us.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
see, Mark was, we were both, when you were away, making the point that the Prem Ashram years, see, in the past, I never knew the importance of them. I almost discounted them as sort of just a simple incident in his life, you know, like visiting America or the West or something, which are also important, but Mark was, both of us were talking that this was such an important, it was a part of his ministry, the Prem Ashram. It was just like his seclusion, or it was just like his silence. The Prem Ashram was that actual profound, an event, to have it, that he worked so intensely.
I mean, this girl in Boston who told me that in 1976, I swear to God, this girl told me that. You know, it was Peter Marx's daughter. She was telling me that.
Victoria?
No, the oldest one.
Alex?
No, the oldest one.
Oh, there's another one, Viola? Or...
Yeah.
She told you that?
In 1976.
That's
she told you what?
22 years
ago. What Fred just said about the Prem Ashram being so important about his work.
Oh yeah, but you see, this was sort of an ideal time because there really wasn't an opportunity for him to do this any other time after this. Do you know what I'm saying? With the trips to the West or the work with the mosques. You know what I mean? It wasn't really...
You know something? Actually, I always feel the center in some of its programming in the future should almost devote each quarter, I'm saying, I'm emphasizing this, each quarter to a phase of Baba's life. The Prem Ashram should be a total of 3 months of meetings, and some of them could be, look, there's so much to cover, so much material to dissect.
And just look at the discussion we're having.
Exactly.
Look at, you didn't even know the story.
One of the things I realized about coming to these ordinary meetings is how much we skip over about
But this is the real wine. This is the real wine.
This is the real wine.
Yeah.
This is the real wine.
We are socialized. We're socialized for a few minutes, but we get into some real.
Well, can I tell you? That's why I called you gents yesterday, because I felt some void in my week because I was in this office on the telephone making appointments, and I said, God, I wish I could leave. And he says, how can we have a Lord Mayor meeting? Then I'd like to called you, and luckily you were available tonight. You guys weren't available, but I wanted to do it.
I turned down a job about 3 months ago.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, well, no, that's
but
cool.
This is the real wine. You see, now this I got to remember to bring you a copy of the script that Liam is working, and I worked on it too.
In all honesty, I predict one day it'll come off as sort of like an artsy movie at first, but I think that
it'll be like Titanic if this comes together because of the love,
I wouldn't doubt it. But I'm just saying it may be first of all an avant-garde type thing, to see it, but it's going to catch fire. Look at the Full Monty. That was released through avant-garde, second line theaters, and it turned over such big results, box office, but then it was distributed through the main UAs and Edwards and all this. And this could happen to this Liam Mullen's movie of Baba. What is it called? Sounds and Thrills?
No, it's gone through different titles.
It's called it different, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
But Liam Mullen, Mark worked with him. He has this.
And Jeff worked on it too.
There's a script totally done. It just needs financing.
He's been working on it for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Liam? I know Liam.
No, yeah. But
can I tell you, I haven't seen Liam Mullen
since
the mid-'80s, I think. He came to the center once.
Yeah.
In the early 80s. Or I don't know, I think it was the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
And I was so shocked to see him. Because one of my first trips to India in 71, 72, 73, I would bump into him every year. He was there. I don't know if he still goes.
But this is just a coincidence yet. Today is St. Patrick's Day, and he is Irish.
Yes.
Born in Ireland. And you were talking about him.
Oh, yes.
Look how Baba, how everything
exactly.
is.
He's truly an
Irish guy.
Oh, he's an Irish.
Liam Mullen.
Liam Mullen. Lads.
He took me to what did we call a concert one night? What's that guy from Canada, Van Morrison?
Oh yeah, Liam was in the Liam used to be a music concert promoter, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a big money guy. He gave that up.
He used to bring up big groups in the 70s and 60s that come to the States, like Zeppelin, I don't know.
Right.
Or I don't know, Zeppelin, but...
Well, but he gave that all up to work on the screenplay. That's, you know, I haven't really dealt with him since the 70s.
Then.
Oh yeah.
Because I know he was older than I, and so it must be, wow. Anyway.
But this has become his passion, telling this story. San Francisco.
Still very.
In San Francisco. I haven't had much contact. Maybe we should contact him and let him know we're reading.
Oh yeah.
But you see, this covers more everything that happens day to day. Where you see, it's a more structured story that really puts Ali and Baba as the two main focuses in the story. You know. And
but it's such a powerful period. The more I read about this Ashram, I swear
And then this thing by Aloba just gives it such dimension.
Ashram real fast.
Huh?
I think the Baba women, I think they pick up on that real fast.
Think so? You see, to me, it is such extraordinary. I mean, I've never heard of it.
Because it's a thing of the heart. Heart is love. That's a heart communication. We men use this. The women are using this. That's what the Bible had. Bible could do both.
One thing I'd like to ask is, I don't know if you guys ever would ask this question. How don't you think these souls were old souls that were attracted to the Prema?
Let's put it this way:
why would they be?
They were very special souls. They were very special souls.
I know you're using special souls, but are you saying they go through 8 million births by then before they?
No,
you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say why were they chosen of all the billions of souls?
Special connections, man. Special connections. One of them was Asfandiar, was in India while I was there. I mean, you know that Irwin Luck went and sought them out, the boys from the Premashram. You know the story. It's in Sobs and Throbs.
I haven't read that.
Yeah. He went and tried to find as many of the Prem Ashram boys as he could. You know, the guys in... Some of them have been here.
I know Asfandia.
But there was another guy as well.
He didn't speak. They both didn't speak English.
No, not the...
that other guy.
Yes, older guy.
From Iran.
Yes. Well, both of them came at that time. But Khodadad and Khosrau, these were like the older guys. You know, remember that? That was like...
I do. I remember the Persian community really came out.
Yes.
In fact, they had functions going on almost every night.
Exactly.
At their house
exactly.
Here.
Yes.
But
those guys were in the Prem Ashram, but they were special souls because you can still see and feel the purity of their love. You can really, you know, when you're around them, you feel the purity of their love.
When you think about it, here you are reading accounts of Asfandiar.
Yes.
And here you probably hugged him, haven't you, or met him?
I was just with him in India.
So you hugged him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here this soul was like...
Yeah, our rooms are back to back. You know what I mean? So I could hear him at night.
Feeling good vibes.
No, he's a nice guy. I mean, I just would say the basic, which is I don't know that much. Hello, Shamachi today. I would, just say greetings to them. And I give prasad because I used to give on prasad duty, and he would come every afternoon.
By himself?
No, with an
assistant.
Yeah.
He couldn't walk to him.
No. His wife had just died.
So did they drive him up? Or?
No, he came up on crutches. And, but beautiful soul. I mean, you could just see. I mean, what a special time to have been with Baba as a boy. You were an altar boy, no? Because I was an altar boy. I don't know about Kennedy.
No. My mother was a preacher's daughter. So religion was not something that I liked. I got mine every day of the week.
But I mean, I don't know about you, Freddie, but when you're young and you just have spirituality, there's less distraction with that.
Well, I was really very focused.
Yes.
In the sanctuary. When you had to bring the water wine to the priest. And,
yes.
and conduct mass. And
Right.
I used to feel pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt I was in a very special place.
Yeah.
I mean, the smell of the incense and the
And
priest
being a
had
part
those.
of that whole
Yeah,
service.
being part of it.
Yeah.
I used to always say, I am your soldier, dear Lord. You are my, my commander. I used to say a prayer like that.
Wow.
You are Lord of the,
Great. That's
I
great.
am your soldier.
That's great. That's great.
And I bow down to you like a knight would, bow down.
Yeah.
I would do this, and I would do it privately. I'm only like
That's
10,
great,
I'm only
right?
10, 11 years old, and I'm saying these things.
That's really
Yeah,
great.
but that's, but when you're young, you have these, because your imagination is also involved. You feel like you're a knight, white armor or
Exactly,
something.
serving the Lord.
Yeah,
For us, it was a battle to get us onto the altar. I told you guys how I used to get beaten up.
Well, that's right, because
the altar.
the racism.
But there was one thing I remember when I was 7, the teacher said, talk to God as if he were your friend. And for some reason that always stuck with
you. That's a good advice.
Yeah.
Sounds like God speaks to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's very
talk to God as if he were your friend.
That's very good advice, because
So I would always just talk to God as if he were my friend. And now he is. He's Baba. But it was so amazing because when the teacher said that, it's like time stood still. You know what I mean? It's like I can always remember that moment.
So it was a big message.
Yeah, it was sort of like, I don't know if anybody else heard it. You know what I mean? It was like
it was directly to you.
It seemed like I don't know. I don't know.
From your heart, not anyone else's.
Yeah, exactly.
There's words like that now.
Yeah.
I go through that almost on a daily basis sometimes. Thinking words are meant just for me.
Yeah.
But,
Should I go on now? This is great to read, that we haven't usually stopped and just talk like this.
This is great because this is such a special.
It's a profound, and it's coming to an end. You see, we're coming to the end of this.
Yeah, volume 3.
Yeah, no. I mean the Prem Ashram.
Yeah.
Because Baba sent Baba is giving these boys these kerchiefs, bottles, dishes, photographs, and other personal items to pacify them. And at 5:30 that evening, all were dismissed. So you can see how slowly it's coming.
It's expanded.
It's been expanded. Yeah. Soba and Ardeshir Rani went back to their homes at this time, and it seemed to foreshadow coming events. On October 24th, Baba sent some of the Prem Ashram boys to Happy Valley. The boys left at 5 in the evening with Chagan, Baidul and Karim. Baba arrived the next morning at 3:30 with Abdulla, Jal, Besu, Rajaram, Ali Akbar, Aga Ali, Kalingad, Baban, and Jawan Mart. At 5:30, Baba himself prepared tea and served it, and with the help of the boys, he fried bhajias. Oh, that's wonderful, bhajias. Later, Shura, bringing vegetables and chapatis. In the afternoon, Rustam's brother Adi came to see Baba and took him for a car ride for about half an hour. After dinner, Baba gathered the boys, explaining to them, "Listen to me, this is Baba. If you commit mistakes, I will forgive them, not once, but 1,000,000 times. But do your best to do as I say. If you obey, I will see to your progress. Never be afraid of me. Suppose a child while playing puts a stone in his mouth and the mother sees it. Do you think she would stand passive at the sight? She would do her best to take the stone from his mouth or beat him. In the same way, I am the mother of the universe, especially of you. So what reason is there to fear anything? Never fear. I won't send you to Meher Ashram as I send the other boys. I will see that you tread the path." Baba then distributed toffees. You know what toffees are?
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
English.
English,
type of food, but they have Indian.
Candy, yeah.
They're really good.
Oh yeah.
In fact, is there one toffee that's supposed to be really Cadbury or no?
I know.
Anyway.
There's lots of good English toffee. Adi had brought, Baba then distributed toffees that Adi had brought and informed the boys that while in Happy Valley, they did not have to meditate. The next 3 days passed pleasantly. Baba went for walks with the boys. On occasion he had phonograph records played and explained the meaning of the songs, and he joined in games with them. They left Happy Valley after a break of 5 days, returning to Toka on the evening of October 28th. The next day Baba called the boys and reminded them not to be drowsy during meditation, informing them, Abdulla has received an inner shock and his heart is palpitating, but I will see that nothing happens to him. He has had some experience of divinity, but nothing of the sort will you have to pass through. I will make you perfect. Afterward, he handed those boys with colds medicine for their coughs, and then went for a brief stroll in the moonlight to the confluence of the Pravara and Godavari rivers. Baba accepted an invitation to go to the village of Nevasa on November 1st. A friend of Dake's, D.L. Karvade, had invited the master to the housewarming ceremonies of his new home. Baba went in the afternoon with several of the boys and mandali in Vital Bokre's truck. An enjoyable time was spent there, and Baba appreciated the bhajan singing very much. While returning to Toka, they came to the river and Baba remarked, I am fed up with crossing this river. Dake offered to carry Baba across on his back. Baba smiled, replying, I am prepared as long as you promise not to drop me. Dake replied, never. I may stumble, but I promise you will not fall. Everyone laughed and Baba asked, are you a magician? When you fall, how will I remain on my feet? Dake with a witty answer said, how could you fall, Baba? Those who can rise never fall themselves. Baba then got on Dake's shoulders and crossed the river. On the opposite bank, Baba remarked, you have brought me across the river today. I am pleased with your efforts, and one day I will help you cross the river of eternal existence. Rustam was a very capable manager, and while in Toka, Baba had given the management of all the ashram affairs over to him, leaving every decision to his discretion. Rustam had to use his own judgment and was even forbidden to ask Baba for advice in any instance. On November 5th, Baba reaffirmed Rustam's responsibility. It is your choice. You may serve me or meditate on me. Rustam replied that he preferred service. Afterward, Baba explained to the mandali and boys about meditation. Baba, meditation on me to such an extent as to forget everything else. Be merged in me. Pleader, though he is fasting and meditating, is still not merged in me. Meditate spontaneously like the inhalation and exhalation of your breath, which goes on automatically, like the tick, tick, tick of a clock, while sitting, eating, drinking, studying, amidst every activity. Meditate on me naturally. Meditation with the help of mercy leads to the path, with the help of the Master to Samadhi, but without grace, such meditation is not possible. Every day, Baba emphasized to the boys not to be drowsy while meditating at night. On November 8th, he gathered them at 9 in the morning and narrated this story. Once an uncle and his nephew, who were both very stubborn and obstinate, came home and found a delicious sweet laddu on the table. Both wanted it and quarreled over who should have it. In the end, they decided that whatever happened, whoever spoke first would lose the sweet. They sat down opposite each other, and neither spoke for hours and hours. The aunt, knowing their stubborn natures, took everything out of the hut and set fire to it, but neither moved. All the while they stared at the sweet laddu. But when the fire reached them, the nephew could stand it no longer. Screaming, he fled the house. Immediately the uncle picked up the laddu and popped it into his mouth. Should be like the uncle. and totally concentrate on me while meditating without getting drowsy in the least. Laddu,
that would be a nice skit.
Yeah.
Like you used to do with Greg Butler.
Yes, yeah.
You see these two guys.
It's so funny though. The Baba is a funny story.
Yeah, that's illustrated. You should be like the father. The kids split, the uncle. The kids split, but the uncle grabbed the laddu.
They both wanted the laddu, and they don't think to split it. I mean, I was thinking they would split the laddu half and half, but no.
That's different.
On the 12th of November was an eclipse of the sun, and several thousand people from the surrounding villages came for the master's darshan. Baba was not happy taking time out of his schedule to give darshan, but met the villagers anyway. He preferred to spend most of his time with the boys of the Prem Ashram. He would watch them play cricket, walk with them to the riverside and watch Chugga and give them swimming lessons. He would feed them with his own hands, listen to phonograph records with them, and regularly give discourses. The routine at this time was 9 to 10, a discourse, 10 to 12, swimming, 12 to 2, meditation, then lunch and either accompanying Baba on a walk or listening to music. Baba visited them late at night also, sometimes coming 2 or 3 times between 10 and 2:30 a.m. to check on their meditation. Wow, man, look at the attention. Pardon me. Different direction. Suna and her daughter, Khurshid, came to Tokka from Bombay to join the women mandali on November 17. Give it over to Kennedy here.
Okay.
It's in early November. Second paragraph.
Right. In early November, Baba again began complaining about the climate of Tokka. Winter was approaching and the health of the boys in Mandali was not good. Many were suffering with colds and fever. On November 18th, in an unhappy mood, Baba stated, "Now it is better to shift the ashram back to Meherabad. Except for a few select boys, the rest will be sent back to their homes. The boys of the Prem Ashram are the jewels, and I will set them on the path." Baba then explained to all the boys that for a month they should go home until arrangements were complete for their stay at Meherabad, after which they would be called back. Due to Baba's persuasion, the children agreed to return home under the impression that their separation would be temporary. Later that day, 7 boys from Ahmednagar were sent home, and the next day, 18 more from Bombay, Karachi, and Pune departed. The mystery underlying this new development was unraveled when, on November 19th, Aga Ali's father came to Tokka for the 3rd time. On this occasion, he brought a notorious gangster with him to forcibly demand the return of his son. Ali was handed over to him, and they left the following day. It was for this very reason that Baba had been working so strenuously, day and night, with the boys during the previous few months. As soon as his work was finished, he announced his sudden decision to send the boys away, and the next day Ali's father, who threatened to do violence, arrived. By November 20th, Pishu took home a 3rd group of Hindu boys, leaving only a few boys remaining in the Prem Ashram. Among this group were the 14 boys from Persia. Meher Ashram, which had started with only 10 Hindu children, gradually increased in number until, by November 18, 1928, the total number was 102 boys, 49 Hindus, 32 Parsis, 20 Muslims, and 1 Christian. Of the 49 Hindus, 15 were Harijans, 15 Marathas, 11 Brahmins, 5 cobbler caste, 2 tailor caste, 1 goldsmith caste, 1 Jain Marwadi, and 1 Pardeshi. Of the 30 Iranis, 6 were Parsis. Of the 20 Muslims, 6 were Moghals, 5 were from Persia, 5 from the Decca, 2 were Breeze, Sunnis, and 2 Kutches.
You know, this is so significant because even now in India, these divisions people are so conscious of these divisions. You know, just when I'm there, I can see the divisiveness. So for Baba, I mean, what?
This is a big deal.
70 years ago to have brought these people all together. I mean, all the Hindu castes don't get along. And the Muslims and the Hindus don't get along.
That's right.
I mean, it's just like, and for Baba to have done this
That's right.
70 years ago.
Yeah, 70 years ago.
is just a mind-blowing thing, because then the people's minds were even more
Closed.
close to this. You know.
Wow.
Meher Baba with all the members of the staff and school at Toka, 1928. That's a cool picture.
Yeah, with all the kids.
Yeah, that's a cool picture.
No, but Freddie, you know, I believe the Muslims one day,
That's
you'll see how many Muslims will come to Baba, and they will look to this phase as the phase when Muhammad.
Is that Meredith Star?
No, it could be that other.
Oh, it's
Look
Pleader.
like-
Pleader.
No, let's take a closer look. Does it give any of the names?
Ow.
You know, you're right. It does look like it, doesn't
Well,
it?
because he did come, remember?
But also that other Westerner that you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. Oh no, that does look. That doesn't look like Star.
Yeah. There's no one now who can identify every person in there, you know.
It's true.
In 1928, the idea to publish a monthly magazine occurred to K.J. Dastur, and Bob encouraged him to go ahead with his plan. On November 22nd, Baba named the monthly Meher Message, and also hinted at publishing journals in Urdu, Marathi, Gujarati, and Persian. Baba invited Dastur, Ramju, and Chanji to meet and share their views on the proposed publications. On hearing the suggestion that a committee would be formed to approve the articles for the periodicals, Dastur became upset and lost his temper. Except for Meher Message, of which he had been appointed editor, he did not wish any other publications to be circulated. Baba drew Dastur's attention to certain discrepancies in the magazine's opening article, which Dastur had edited. Pointing to Chanji and Ramju, Dastur claimed that Baba always did as they said. Baba retorted, if you think that I act according to their dictates, then there is no point in your staying with me. After the discussion ended, Dastur returned to his room. Baba then informed Ramju and Chanji, let him do as he wishes. I will see what he does. I won't permit anything objectionable to be published. During the previous months, Ramju was busy interviewing the students for his book about their spiritual experiences and the events in the school ashram entitled Sobs and Throbs. The typing of the manuscript began on the day Aji Aga Ali was removed from the ashram by his father and the bodyguard. Due to the cold weather, some of the Prem ashram boys caught severe colds. This same day, Baba instructed Baidu to bring a bottle of cough syrup from the dispensary. By mistake, Baidu bought a bottle of iodine, which looked exactly like the cough mixture. For a while, Baba tore the bottle and then handed it back to Baidu, motioning him to return to the dispensary. Baidu wondered why Baba had not given the medicine to the boys. But when he put it back on the shelf, he noticed that it contained iodine, not cough syrup.
Wow.
He was deeply impressed by the master's uncanny omniscience. Among those of the men mandali who were sick at the time were Padri and Meherji. On November 25th, Meherji was so ill that he stopped eating. He secretly longed for some juicy Afghan pomegranates or some oranges and apples during his illness, but did not reveal this desire to anyone. It was therefore a pleasant surprise to him when Baba came to his room carrying a basket filled with fruits, including Kabuji pomegranates from Afghanistan. Kabuli pomegranates. It's funny. During those last days of Toka, the master's devotees in different places were telling others about the unique institution of Meher Ashram, encouraging them to enroll their children. At the same time, however, articles were published in the newspapers that the school was closing and the structures in Toka were being pulled down. This may sound contradictory, but only Baba knew his real work. And everything was actually proceeding systematically according to his divine plan. On November 26, Baba left Toka in Rustam's car with Gustaji and Abdulla. The remaining boys and their supervisors, along with the trunks and baggage, followed in a trolley, and they all stayed at Akbar Press in Abednego. Nursawan Satha rose early one morning to help in preparing chapatis for breakfast. Baba also came into the kitchen and gave a helping hand in the work. Nursawan tried to stop him, but Baba explained, "I am obliged to do this work. Day and night I have to do it. If I don't, the whole world will starve. I feed everyone, but it is to feed everyone externally that I have descended to the world." On November 29th, Baba returned to Toka in Adi K. Arani's car. After a brief stay, he left with the woman mandali at 2 p.m. for Meherabad. There, the women took up residence in the post office building, while Baba resumed staying on the hill in the small room adjoining the water tank rooms. Later, he moved to his underground crypt. Baba had Nararoji, Dada Chanji, called to Toka on the 26th of November to supervise the demolition work of the temporary structures. The dismantled materials were shipped back to Meherabad. The work was finished by December 4th, 1928, and the men Mandali bade a farewell to Toka and departed for Meherabad. Toka became deserted, but no place where the divine game of wine has been played can ever be the same. The sake's presence is still there. The wine shop will always be there, where the thirsty can quench their thirst for ages to come. He who drinks his fill of wine will be able to merge with the confluence of the holy rivers and find himself at the eternal shore of everlasting existence. That must be one of Baal's poems.
It's a nice place. You've been there, Freddie, no? It's very green.
I think we passed by. I don't know if
We didn't stop. Yeah, it's very green there. Oh yeah.
Where you got off, down?
Yeah, we visited it. You know, it's very
There's no
opposite.
buildings left.
No buildings. Just mud huts of the local villages in that area.
Really, right where the ashram was.
Not right where the ashram is, but it's sort of, but it's very lush and very green. I can see why Baba liked it. This is right by the Godavari River.
How far is it from there? Sure.
It's on the way to the Ellora caves. So maybe a couple of hours or so outside.
Well, so it's probably a couple 100 miles.
No.
I mean, 100 miles.
Maybe about 100, 180 kilometers. Yeah, maybe not even that much. But yeah, maybe 100
About 90 or 100 kilometers.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah. So we go to a new chapter now?
Yes, return to Meherabad. You want to read something? Right?
Do you want to?
I don't mind. I do not mind. I just thought that Fred wanted to read something.
I think we're almost the end of this book.
Oh, we got a long way to go.
Is there more pages left?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that was it.
Because that sounded final.
Well, that was the end of one chapter.
Yeah, there's at least another.
The end of Toka.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't finish tonight. Let's see what time it is. No, we could read for another 15 at least.
Yeah.
This
is such good stuff.
Yeah.
We got from 53, we're on page 1120. We got to 1153.
Oh,
So
well, that's a couple times.
Yeah.
At least maybe 2 or 3 nights.
Yeah.
But this stuff is you just enjoy. There's no sense of hurry.
No hurry, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But now, what you're saying, though, what you were saying earlier, So that's the end of the Pramashramur.
Well,
Right.
you'll see it wrap up. It's going to have a dramatic finish.
Oh, it's not finished yet.
No, let's just go back to Mehrabad now.
Yeah, this chapter is called Return to Mehrabad.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
where the Pramashramur originally was.
Right.
Oh, I see.
After the move from Toka, Meredith and Margaret Starr and Esther Ross were accommodated at Akbar Press of Ahmednagar and would occasionally visit Baba at Mehrabad.
There was that.
Yeah. Yes, actually.
From Toka, Sadhu Christian League had been sent on pilgrimage to different places in India, but subsequently returned to Mehrabad. Baba promptly assigned duties to each of the mandali, Brother Biharam, Ustaji, Dastur, Abdulla, Rajaram, Sidhu, and the young Mastan were first kept at Lower Mehrabad. Their new quarters were ready and they moved up the hill near Baba. Baba devoted most of his time to the mandali and the remaining boys. He would rise at 2 a.m. to supervise the boys who were ordered to meditate, making certain they were carrying out his instructions properly. At 5 a.m., he himself would keep tea ready for everyone and personally serve it along with chapatis. Later, he would inspect the construction work of the temporary structures and supervise the boys' school lessons. Occasionally, he would change the ashram timetable and give new specific instructions to the teachers, one of which was to teach only one subject in the school, English. At night, Baba was resting in Bua Sahib's old room. Let me start that again. At night, Baba was resting in Bua Sahib's old room on the south side of the water tank on the hill. It was a small room built between two large halls of the water reservoir. The cabin over the underground crypt, taken down when they moved to Toka, was being rebuilt. When the cabin was ready, Baba moved there. On the evening of December the 8th, when Baba was on his usual rounds of inspection, he gave a candid explanation on divine intoxication and obedience to a master's orders. Baba explained the difference between the two states with this simile. The diamond or pearl is costly and valuable indeed, but they have absolutely no value in a desert when one is thirsty or hungry, and when a piece of bread or pot of water would be more valuable than all the jewels in the world. In a similar way, intoxication with God is very good. It is indifferent and careless toward worldly affairs and relations, as well as toward drinking, eating, or sleeping. It is due, of course, to the effects of the highest love for the beloved. But this intoxication, however invaluable or desirable, has no value before the Master's order. It is below his orders. His order is the highest and most supreme test. Strict observance of the Master's order, in spite of any type of intoxication, is the best. Otherwise, the breaking of orders due to intoxication has little or no importance whatsoever. As I have stated before, even in the highest state of intoxication, one's head should be on the feet of the Master. This is the meaning of the Persian couplet. Kiss even the chair of the
We'll do the couplet again.
This is the meaning of the Persian couplet. Kiss the chair of the beloved, then go on crying and wailing that you are burning from separation. Then ask, O kind Lord, listen to our complaint and do something. The couplet reveals that you must first surrender heart and soul to your beloved, and then cry from the pain of separation, not before. And surrender means giving up your mind and being only guided in life by the Guru's word and direction with absolutely no thinking. Crying, weeping, and wailing without surrender are of no use.
Can we just take a break here for a second? No, don't start that. Because listen, of the beloved. Made me think of Majnun. You know Majnun and Layla.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the Indian movie of the story.
Oh, you're kidding?
Awesome, man. But they decided they would let Majnun,
Oh, okay.
But if he shows any craziness at all, they would take her right away. Okay? So he's in her home, and he's thinking, man, how fortunate this chair is that Layla has sat in this chair. You see, his love was so much that, and then before she comes in, her dog comes in, and he throws himself at the dog and starts kissing the dog and saying how fortunate you are that you are with Layla and that she loves. You know what I mean? It's like he just couldn't hold it. That's it. Let's get him out of here. Get him out of here. Because he thought he envied the dog. He said, "I would be your shadow, just to be close to her." He said, "How fortunate you are."
Oh my.
Whenever I meet somebody from Pakistan or India somewhere, they all know Majnun and Layla do.
Were you with me? Were you with me at the conference? Were you with me I was filling out an order for some Persian guy.
Oh, you mentioned a little bit about that.
Yeah, his name was Farhad or something like that. Then I said, "How is Farhad?" And then we talked about Majnun, Layla.
I wasn't paying that much attention.
Yeah, but there was a Persian guy then. We started talking about
all those people know that story.
And he knew.
Oh, everybody knows.
Majnun
and Layla are higher. Majnun and Layla are higher than Romeo and Juliet.
Oh yeah, I think Romeo and Juliet is a ripoff of Majnun and Layla. That's what I personally think. But I wonder if Fred heard the story of when the Muslim was praying. You've heard that story, right? And Majnun was looking for Layla, and this Muslim guy was having this prayer. Tell him that story, Mark.
I don't know which one that is.
That's the one when the Muslim guy has because they prayed 5 times a day.
Right.
And Majnun is walking, he's thinking of Layla, so he's going to meet Layla. Well, when a Muslim puts down his rug, he's got a 6-foot circumference around that rug. If you come inside of that, it's a war because he's praying to Allah. Right. And so Majnun's come bopping across the desert thinking about Layla, right? And he stepped inside the guy's circle. The guy was running with his prayer. He jumped up, put his foot, says, "How dare you? I'm praying to Allah. I will cut off your head." And Majnun steps out of the guy's circle. He says, "Well, gee," he says, "I'm sorry, I didn't see that plan." He says, "I was just want to be with my beloved Layla." And the Muslim guy says, "Well, since you're a nice guy, I'm not going to." So he puts his sword back. And Majnun said, "Well, by the way, how come when I was thinking of Layla, I didn't think of you, but you were praying to your God and you saw me?"
You can really, like Baba said, if your focus is true, you don't see anything else. You know what I mean? Nothing else exists.
That's true.
That's really a story of the meditation.
That's a good point.
I think that's in the God Man, isn't it?
There's so many wonderful stories.
You know any of them?
Wonderful. Well, there's tons of them. One of them was this guy is going across the desert, right? The guy is going on a camel. So Majnun says, "Oh, you're going to see Layla. Could you give her this message for me?" So he gives the guy the message, right? And he leaves the guy,
Oh, God.
And the guy's going across, and he remembers something more, so he runs after the guy. He said, "Oh, also something else. I want you to tell Layla." So again, he goes on with the message, and he says, "Thanks." And then he leaves the guy and he goes all the way back. Then he remembers something, so he runs out again, so it goes like this. And he is on foot. And he keeps going back and running after the guy. And they cross the desert like this. And the guy said, "Look, Majnun, we're here. Why don't you go tell yourself? You're telling yourself, you crossed the test. But his love was so much.
Oh my God.
His love was so much that he wasn't even aware of what he was doing. Yeah, but this is now. You see, now he's in the city. He doesn't know where Lila is. The guy is wiped out. He doesn't know where she is. He doesn't want his feet to face her. And he doesn't want the soles of his feet.
Man.
You see how with Baba he would never put that.
Oh, man.
He's so afraid. He doesn't know where she is.
So he doesn't know which way to sleep.
Exactly. So what does he do? He ties himself up and sleeps upside down. His feet were not. This guy is.
This, I tell you, the humor is too. It almost reminds you of Peter Sellers with the great play.
Yes.
So the guy hangs himself.
Yeah, by the feet. He sleeps upside down.
He's upside down, so his feet are pointed to heaven.
Rather than.
Oh my God.
You see later. You
He
see
doesn't want to
later.
hang down.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Because no, she may be underneath.
He didn't know where she was.
So he figured this way, the feet definitely will not.
She would never have hang out. But the love is so much that, he would never let his feet face. You know what I mean? Look at that, she could be the other side of the city.
That is too much. I looked in libraries for stories about them. I can't find them anywhere.
But you know something what's amazing?
Baba told stories about
is,
him.
I've seen when people come to Marizada and Marabad, and some Westerners or whatever are a little. I don't know if they're a little uncouth or whatever.
They don't know.
But they I don't know. They just, you could see that they're not conscious of where their feet or this or that.
Right.
And because I think I could recall sometimes even at Mandali Hall, people have the habit of sometimes just really you got it full, but they just put their feet out.
Right, exactly.
And they're almost, the Baba's chair is right there, and they're on the wall.
Yeah.
And their feet are right face in front of Baba. Erich would never do that. He would stand or sit.
Yeah, but you see, Baba would say, be comfortable.
Yeah.
And Baba would not.
Baba was different, yeah.
Well, Baba didn't mind. He wanted people to be comfortable. But still, the Indians have that respect where they would never do something like that. You know what I mean? It's like they are comfortable not doing that.
But it creates though a nice feeling when somebody has that grace to be that aware of not. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you may say, well, it's ritualistic or it's tradition. Yeah. But I think actually it's a loving thing. I mean, it's like caring, if
you can't judge.
Well, you know what it really is.
It's like for your own mother or father, if you were very respectful in the same way,
Exactly.
We can't judge.
It's sort of like learning what it's like stretching ourselves outside of our own knowledge and trying to see, I'm here at Freddy's, what would be comfortable with them, rather than just,
Exactly, because
showing respect to your host in a way. It's because you're going to India. This is their home. This is their culture.
Right. I can recall my first visit. I went into Mandali Hall.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do, so I kneeled down.
Yeah.
By Baba's chair like this, and Erich was behind me.
He just
pushed my head, and I put my head up. And after that, I told you, I started bowing to everything.
Yeah.
I bowed
but
to
you
everything.
didn't bow to Erich though.
No, but I bowed to the women, and that's when Mara really got somewhat emotional about, no, just for Baba, not for me,
This is what, 71 or
71, my first trip.
Wow.
And Baba just dropped his body, a year and a half before.
Right.
And Mara was really still in mourning. And first time she came out, how they come out on the porch was after.
Yeah.
And when she said, "This is Mara," and I was at the foot of the stairs. And so I just... I mean, I did it. It was all innocent, believe me.
Right.
I was like an innocent child.
But look how fortunate you are, Freddie, to have been there. I mean, I was with Baba, but I was not.
Yeah, I know. I was there early
to
years.
see them when they were still young.
Yeah, they're all vibrant. And, Mara, let's face it, Mara lived till 89.
Right.
So 71 the first time I met her. So 81 is 17, 18 years.
Yeah.
And so, but that was special.
Yeah,
but it's amazing how But I notice on Indians, if you notice that when they take darshan, they do a certain way at Baba Samadhi or even elsewhere, that, or like they're, very, very devout. And
yeah. Oh, it's just beautiful. And Adi, Rhoda and Adi Subhash, it was like we were talking one day about, they had never touched Mara, Baba said, and they said, this tomb, they don't touch it. They would never touch, that's how they...
something, a thought came across me when I was putting my head down on Mara's tomb, and I think I went around, I saw some women kiss right where Mara's face would be, at the tomb.
Yes.
And so I did the same. But a little thought came over me, wow, I'm doing something that, I really couldn't physically come near Mara.
Right.
And I felt a thought, just like you just mentioned, it was passing. But
Yeah.
there was a little feeling of, when Mara was in the physical form.
Yes.
But I see how,
Even the men, they will bow, but they won't go near it. So I've taken that on because it's sort of like they grew up with Baba and with Mehra, knowing that this is Baba's wish, don't touch Mehra. So to them, not even coming near the stone. You bow to Baba's love for her, but you don't touch it.
Well, I have Mehra's pictures in my room, and I have this thing of, touching pictures.
Yeah.
I don't touch her picture.
You see, there it is. You see, so Baba, there's
No,
something...
I don't touch her picture because I bow to her. But I would there's this picture, I just touch it sometimes with my fingernails.
Yeah.
Like Baba's picture, my father and my brothers,
You touch your dad's too.
Yeah, I think of him, I say, Dad, God, I hope that Baba's taking care of you.
I'm sure he is because, Baba takes care of him.
They say you go back to your youthful disposition when you die.
Is that right?
I think that's what they say. They say you go to when you were in your prime of life.
Well, you pick your favorite time.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't know, according to Bauji, that they say they stay in connection.
Hey, so she didn't take that thing?
Oh, that's another one.
Another one.
So, yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't Bauji say that your connection will somehow help?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Somebody will come in?
Well, no, but it's just that Baba will look after your family. You know what I mean? It's like...
Will somebody come to my father and talk to him? Or?
Well, usually it would be someone that he loved very much. It may have been your mom. I don't know who he was closest to. It could have been his own parent that
What do you mean? They come to him?
They come and guide you across.
I think they wait for you
to the other side. And
they can see you getting ready to come through, so
they welcome you.
Well, all my uncles are there, and my aunts, and my grandmother, and his mother. That'd be my dad's mother.
Whoever
they may be born again, though. That might.
Well, I don't think probably right away.
It takes a couple hundred years before they come back.
No, usually about 7.
Really?
In between incarnations, yeah.
Is that all it is?
Well, you can take longer if you want, but usually 7. 7 is a long time to digest all that stuff, But Baba says during war times you just come right back. You're in times of war.
Really?
If you die on the battlefield, you just, what I mean? That's why so many boys are born during war times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I try to remember where this information is, but Baba himself has given that information. That, you know what I mean? That usually 7 years is usually all that you usually take.
Well, most of my uncles. So my sister's back, and she died in '82.
Well,
so you think my sister's back?
Yeah, well, because basically you sort of process all that stuff, and then you choose the next, and you get all that.
She died in '82, so she'd be back by now.
Could be. She could be.
And
It's interesting.
No, it doesn't take as long as you think.
My mother died in 50.
Yeah.
Something, so she should be 54.
Yeah.
She should be back.
Yeah, they say you actually meet them sometimes.
Well, you don't know. They're another person.
I'm saying
you're close to somebody.
You don't know how long it's going to take.
You don't know why you're close to somebody sometimes. You ever notice that?
Well,
it's amazing sometimes when you meet somebody, a stranger, and there's something there.
Yeah.
And you almost say, why is that person so interested in me?
Yeah.
Or why do I feel something about that person?
Right.
Don't you think there's some connection? But then obviously there's no mistakes.
No.
Anybody you actually come in contact with, you have some karma with.
I believe that. I can definitely believe that. Shall we continue?
Sure.
Most of these comments were directed at the boy Rajaram, who, while under the influence of intoxication, would at times disregard Baba's order to eat 2 meals a day. You may have love, Baba explained to Rajaram, but it is of no use without complete obedience. Love, but don't forget to obey. I mean, first obey, then love. Khan Sahib was not particularly attracted to Meher Baba, but he did not prevent his wife Gulman, or sons Adi and Rustam, or daughter Dali, from being dedicated to the master. But Sarosha's father, Kai Kushru, elder, was adamantly opposed to Meher Baba, believing that Baba's contact had brought nothing but trouble to his family. If Saros went to visit Baba, his father would become extremely annoyed, and so Saros had to keep his visits a secret during this period. However, Saros's father came to know of his visits through a man who spied for him who was working at Meherabad. At the time, no one knew who carried all the news to Kai Kushru, elder, but on Baba's head, they questioned a local villager named Jamara, and he admitted the truth. There's a star here, footnote here. That's page 1123. 1123. Jamara's full name was Rup Singh Ganesh Singh Gonsalve. A Hindu, he was 39 at the time and worked the rest of his life at Meherabad. Okay. Baba allowed Jamara to stay on the property, but appointed him night watchman of Meherabad. In this way, his association with Sarosha's father came to an end. Jamara proved so faithful a worker that he served as a night watchman from 1925 onward for nearly 45 years. He stayed on the hill guarding the property during Baba's 6-month period in Toka. He was so conscientious that even when he would be indisposed at times, he would still not shirk his duties. Jamara's wife, Bagu, was also a hard-working, honest, and sincere woman, and she was appointed to help the woman Mandali.
How's this man's name spelled? J-A?
Jamadar.
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 You know, somebody must know about him. He was 45 years, so that means 1969. When Baba dropped the body is when he basically, or 1970, when he stopped his duties.
Right.
Because that's from 1925, for 45 years, that's 1970.
That's right.
Wow. So, they must know about him.
Yeah.
I mean, well, of course they do.
His wife helped him woman Mandali, so you know they know.
Oh, yeah, so they must.
Yeah.
See, these are the little side stories here that.
But you don't get in those big texts, that's right.
Just think, these people, when they were there, it's just amazing.
It's true, Frank. It's almost overwhelming.
Well, it's like when you wander around Meherabad, Lower Meherabad, on the eastern side, you have no idea who some of these people are. Like I go into the post office, because I want the Meherabad stamp on my postcards, and this guy will say, oh, my parents have been serving Baba for 45 years. And I don't ask who his parents are, because if you know the names, but so many of these people,
wow,
their parents have, their generations have been with Baba.
Contact.
Yes, knew Baba, were with Baba. You know what I mean? It's like this just interwoven with the fabric of the
place, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love going out of the western side and just being on the east. I think so. I like.
Well, I really have this.
Huh?
I'd like to go to India before the end of this year.
Great, Freddie.
Because I just thought about the Mandalay are really time is running out.
Especially since you've been going for so many years.
Goyer and Erich and Father Time is catching up to everybody. And you should go, Kennedy, one time before they're all gone to see the first generation.
Oh, I thought you said before I go.
Well, I'm hoping to go again this year, man. I would love it. You know what I mean? It's so precious to be able to see these people.
I like that too, man.
I'd like to go, though, probably the fall.
You think Gigi would mind?
Well, she wouldn't mind, just to say.
Yeah.
Do it. That should do it for today.
Yeah.
What page was it?
We're at, I'm going to make a copy. We're at 1123.
Okay, Jai Baba. Jai Baba. It's, the date is 24th of March, 1998. It's Tuesday. This is the Lord Meher night. This is readings from the biography of the Avatar of the Age, Meher Baba, Volume 3 by Bal Kalchuri, covering the years 1925 to 1929, and we're on page 1122. Baba is speaking. But this intoxication, however invaluable or desirable, has no value before the Master's order. It is below his orders. His order is the highest and most supreme test. Strict observance of the Master's order, in spite of any type of intoxication, is the best. Otherwise, the breaking of orders due to intoxication has little or no importance whatsoever. As I have stated before, even in the highest states of intoxication, one's head should be on the feet of the Master. This is the meaning of a Persian couplet. Kiss even the chair of the beloved, then go on crying and wailing that you are burning from separation. Then ask, O kind Lord, listen to our complaint and do something. The couplet reveals that you must first surrender heart and soul to your beloved, and then cry from the pain of separation, not before. And surrender means giving up your mind and being only guided in life by the Guru's word and direction, with absolutely no thinking. Crying, weeping, and wailing without surrender are of no use. Most of these comments were directed at the boy Raja Ram, who, while under the influence of intoxication, would at times disregard Baba's order to eat 2 meals a day. You may have love, Baba explained to Raja Ram, but it is of no use without complete obedience. Love, but don't forget to obey. I mean, first obey, then love. Khan Saheb was not particularly attracted to Meher Baba, but he did not prevent his wife Gulmai or sons Adi and Rustam or daughter Dali from being dedicated to the Master. But Sarosha's father, Kaikarushu Elder, was adamantly opposed to Meher Baba, believing that Baba's contact had brought nothing but trouble to his family. If Sarosh went to visit Baba, his father would become extremely annoyed, and so Sarosh had to keep his visits secret during this period. Is that Sarosh who ran Sarosh Auto Works?
Mm-hmm.
However, Sarosha's father came to know of his visits through a man who spied for him, who was working at Mehrabad. At the time, no one knew who carried all the news to Kairushu Elder, but on Baba's hint, they questioned a local villager named Jamadar, and there's a footnote on this Jamadar fellow. Let's see what it says. Jamadar's full name was Rup Singh Ganesh Singh Gansadi, a Hindu. He was 39 at the time and worked the rest of his life in Mehrabad. Oh, that's great. And he admitted the truth. Baba allowed Jamadar to stay on the property, but appointed him night watchman of Mehrabad. So the guy that was the rat fink, Baba took in.
Night duty, yeah, so he couldn't see anything, yeah.
In this way, his association with Sarosha's father came to an end. By putting him on night duty. Ramadar proved so faithful a worker that he served as a night watchman from 1925 onward for nearly 45 years.
Wow.
He stayed on the hill, guarding the property during Baba's 6-month period in Toka. He was so conscientious that even when he would be indisposed at times, Jamadar's wife, Bagu, was also a hard-working, honest, and sincere woman, and she was appointed to help the women mandali. Meaning indisposed, was that like in the toilet?
Not feeling well.
Oh.
He's not feeling well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when somebody calls, I'm going to speak to so-and-so, he's indisposed. What does that mean? They're
It's not available. They're not available.
Be
in a meeting. You know what I mean?
Well, some people do not answer the phone now. They let the machine screen, and they'll call in due time.
Exactly.
I mean, even if they are home and are, in other words, they'll say it's just we don't talk on the phone that way. We'll call in our due time. In other words, they don't want the phone.
I don't like that.
They don't want the phone to rule them.
Right.
They want to rule the phone.
Right. Because a lady called yesterday to offer me some work, and I answered the phone. She said, "You want?" I said, "Yeah." She says, most people don't answer the phone anymore.
No, that's very true. No, really. Anyway.
Yeah.
During 1922 in Pune, Baba had told Sarosh that he would make him a king. After leaving Mandali, Baba advised him to open an automobile shop in Ahmednagar. Sarosh's business prospered and he became quite influential, being elected mayor of Ahmednagar more than once. But no matter how influential he became, Sarosh remained faithful to Baba in his whole life and held nothing back in serving him. On December 9th, after many days without a shave, Baba allowed Pendu to shave him. That morning a discussion centered on the boy Daria Hansotia, whom Baba had warned that unless he awoke at 3 a.m. to meditate, which he loathed to do, Baba would not give him darshan. Wow. It's amazing to see Baba with some of his early mandali.
Where's Baba? Is Baba there?
Oh, I'm sorry, they're mandali,
right.
not Baba.
It's Baidul.
Yeah, it's Baidul, Baramji, Yakatai, and Afsari. The topic then turned to sleep. Baba revealed to the mandali how to enjoy sound sleep and thereby maintain good health.
Oh, Sam doesn't need to know.
That's all. That's good for all of us, isn't it? That subject. Sleep, sound sleep is good, but it must be moderate. That's interesting. 4 to 5 hours is sufficient for good health, but it must be undisturbed by dreams. To have a sound sleep, the best way is to accustom yourselves to rise at night and not to go to sleep again after you have once been awakened out of your sleep. Suppose you went to sleep at 8 p.m. and awakened at 1 a.m. for some reason, either for calls of nature or just abruptly. After you are once fully conscious and awake, do not go back to sleep again. Keep awake. Either meditate between 4 to 6 a.m., for that is the best time for meditation, or go for a walk, or read, even if you are awake at 11 p.m., having slept at 8 p.m., and only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep.
But you probably cannot do it. If you start reading book and keeping yourself awake, you will after
Well, see,
4 or 6 hours.
but see,
he's saying don't go back to sleep.
But see, what Baba is saying though, if you do fall back to sleep reading a book, it's a natural, probably way instead of trying to just, right away go back.
Time to go to sleep.
Yeah, in other words,
Wait, I thought he's saying stay awake once you've woken up.
he has said that, but the thing is, keep awake, either meditate if it's between 4 and 6, for that is the best time for meditation, or go for a walk or read, even if you are awake at 11 p.m., having slept at 8 p.m., and get only 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Being once awake and conscious from sleep, do not go back to sleep again, for that is injurious to health. 3 hours at least must pass between your awakening from sleep and your going to sleep again.
Wow, so he's just saying 3 hours in between.
Although if sleep is not taken, it would be still better. This habit of not going to bed again after the first break of sleep, though a little troublesome in the beginning, will eventually give good results of enjoying a perfectly sound sleep undisturbed by dreams, a most essential and invaluable.
This is valuable information here.
I never knew this.
I didn't know that.
Because Gigi has a sleepwalking almost. And those are dreams,
Right. But I mean, like Baba is, but you usually will stay up. You'll read or you'll play a game or you'll do something.
But I pee though. See,
that's what I mean. But Baba is saying once
I go to pee like sometimes 2, 3 times a night.
So you haven't changed your lifestyle so that you see. I have to pee too when I get out of the truck and I have to make sure nobody sees me.
I pee in a bottle though. See, If I'm in a truck, I used
Right,
to pee in a big bottle.
Well, so you've always had that problem.
Because of my, I don't know what it is.
You should be tested for diabetes, you know? I mean, they say that's one of the symptoms. Maybe you can, you know what I mean, arrest it and...
Well, it's just that I know that if I don't eat late, I usually don't.
You sleep better.
I sleep better. And if I, well, see, but the point of it is, I usually pee when I drink a lot of water. But that's evident. I mean, you would normally. I mean, like sometimes I'll put away a big bottle of Crystal Geyser between, say, 9 and 11 at night, you know, while I'm reading or doing something.
So maybe don't.
But don't you think naturally you'd pee?
Right.
If you, I'm sorry I'm using these words.
No.
But anyway. Yeah, but anyway. So, but this is really interesting. I'll just read again. Being once awake and conscious from sleep, do not go back to sleep again, for that is injurious to health. 3 hours at least must pass between your awakening from sleep and your going to sleep again. Although if sleep is not taken, it would be still better. In other words, even if you don't go to sleep after 3 hours, it's better to stay awake.
Right.
You know what's so funny? It's true though. One time I ate some Mexican food or something and I got up like 3 in the morning and I could not go back to sleep, and I stayed up and I thought, oh, I'm going to have a miserable day. Would you believe I made it through the day, and I was surprised I didn't feel that bad. And there are other days when I try to go back to sleep after, you know, having a bad night, and I wake up feeling I got beat up by a bowling pin. You know, you feel, you crawl out of bed, and this is it. You know what I think it is? Your body is like a machine that on a car's engine is, the pistons are humming, and then suddenly you shut down again. It's like, you know, I think what it is. You follow me, it's like turning the ignition on and off, to where eventually, you're trying to...
Well, it's sort of like a train. You know, once you build it up to speed, and then you shut it off.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like
that's a good point, too. The momentum again. And then also your heart may go through, you know?
Yeah, well, it's sort of like the body gets sluggish because it's getting used to sleeping and not being active, you know?
So it says, the habit of not going to bed again after the first break of sleep, although a little troublesome in the beginning, will eventually give good results of enjoying a perfectly sound sleep undisturbed by dreams, a most essential and invaluable factor in preserving good health. So try, all of you, to be awake and rise at the first break of sleep, and do not sleep again, so you can have sound sleep and good health. Besides, the early hours of the morning are best for meditation. Once you accustom yourselves to this, you will not feel sleepy even while meditating. For example, the little boys of the Prem Ashram have been rising as early as 1 a.m. daily for the last month and have progressed marvelously. Although they were disturbed by sleep while meditating, almost all have now overcome the difficulty. Yesterday there was only one boy who left his meditation. Before leaving Toka, most of the mandali had fallen sick, and their illnesses continued even after the return to Mehrabad. Baba arranged for their treatment and would look after them. However, no one was allowed to be active in Mehrabad. Even those convalescing from illnesses were given rice, dal, and beans to clean, sorting out the small stones and dirt. During this period, Homi Satha's wife, Pila, who lived at Akbar Press, became seriously ill with a high fever. She was treated by several competent doctors who pronounced her on the verge of death. All hope for her survival was abandoned. Homi went to Mehrabad and informed Baba, who consoled him, "Even if Pila dies, she will come to me, for she loves me deeply. So leave everything given, and don't be disheartened." No sooner had Homi left than Baba began suffering from chills. He had himself covered with several blankets, but his shivering continued. Soon after, it was observed that his body became as hot as tawa, which is iron pan in which chapatis are baked. And he suffered extreme restlessness. You imagine his body became hot as a tawa. Wow, that's hot.
So he's taking on his suffering, you know.
2 hours later, Homi sent word from Ahmednagar that Pila's fever had miraculously broken and she was feeling all right. Even the doctors who had tried their utmost but were unsuccessful in bringing down her fever were wonderstruck at how it all happened.
Baba took it on, you know.
Wow.
And he really went through it, I mean, look at the intensity.
And after Baba received the news, his fever suddenly lifted and he appeared normal again. As soon as he heard the news of her.
Yeah.
Wow. And let me see what there's a footnote here. This is only one of many incidents when Meher Baba not only inwardly took upon himself the suffering of his lovers, but outwardly as well. Wow. Here's a picture of Baba in the 20s, seated. Beautiful.
It's always nice to see a new picture, I've never seen that picture before.
Oh yeah, I took this Sahaba's picture, and I'm going to look at a test one on Thursday, and then they'll go around to 500. I took it. It's called duplicate photo, Highland and Sunset, right across from Hollywood High.
Yeah.
You know where that is?
Yeah, I know where it is. Are they good places? Must be a good place.
Oh yeah, this has been around for. I've used them about 3-4 times.
Acha.
On December 10th, while mentioning how much Aga Ali must be suffering in Bombay, Baba remarked, "I know that he is troubled. All are troubled, yet I will leave nothing unturned in troubling you. All here are harassed, but no one is as harassed as I am." Baba then revealed this true tale. The spiritual path is not a bed of roses. After 14 years of fasting, the great yogi, Farid Shakar Ganji, had reached the 4th plane, but only knew how to kill sparrows. Once a Sadguru was sitting in the shade of a tree observing him. Seeing the birds, Farid said, "Let all the sparrows drop dead." Instantly all the sparrows were dead. Then Farid, by his command, made them come alive again. The Sadguru taunted him, "That is nothing. Learn fakiri, control over yourself." Once Farid found an old woman lowering a bucket into a well and drawing it back up again empty. This happened several times, and he expressed his surprise. The old woman, who was a saint on the 5th plane, replied, "It is better than your commands of die and come alive." Hearing this, Farid Ganji was awakened to the reality of his powers and began searching for a master. He found one, and by the master's grace became a perfect master himself. "You say you are troubled, but it is nothing. Your troubles and harassment will eventually result in your gaining the power of not killing sparrows, but of the killing of yourself. There is no use in my describing to you about the effulgence of God. One day you will experience it."
In December, K.G. Dastur arranged for the publication of the first issue of Meher Message and informed Baba about it. On December 11th, Baba told Dastur many things in connection with the publishing work. This is Baba. "If Meher Message deals only with spiritual subjects, my nazar, sight, and blessing will always be on it." Baba warned Dastur to steer clear of social and political issues and not to publish such articles in what was to be solely a spiritual journal. On December 13th, Baba began spending his nights in the underground crypt on the hill. The same day, Aga Ali's father came from Bombay looking for his son who had run away from home again. Although he had not yet arrived at Mecca, he gave in to the mandali's persuasions and agreed to allow him to stay with Baba. The next day, Ali appeared at the ashram, exhausted from his latest escape. From the second week of December, a few of these slipped away from their parents and returned to the school ashram. On December 16th, Shankarnath, who had withstood the severest tests and who had impressed everybody with his perseverance, devotion, and obedience to Baba, under the most trying circumstances, at last expressed his desire to go to Benares. After staying aloof in the Sadak ashram for a long time, he now wanted to leave Mehrabad, and Baba permitted it. The mandali observed that Shankarnath seemed out of touch with this world, for he could only speak in disjointed sentences. The following day, Baba began cleaning the boys' toilets, allowing only his brother Jal to help in this work. Regarding this lowly task, Baba explained to the mandali, "Sadgurus are in the highest state. yet they work like sweepers to abolish the bad sanskaras of sinners. But here I have to do this outwardly filthy work of cleaning the toilets and urinals. You will never know how sweet and wonderful this work is to me. When will you be able to understand my way of working? That's really beautiful, you know. That same day, Mehraji's father arrived unexpectedly at Mehrabad at 3 in the afternoon with 4 Parsi priests. He had heard a rumor that his son had shaved his head and was moving about in a long robe like a sadhu. But when he saw Mehraji, he realized the stories were false. Nevertheless, he told Baba, Mehraji is my eldest son, and I have hopes of his shouldering the full responsibility of our entire family. I therefore wish to take him home. Baba replied, Your son is gold. You may take him with you, but I allow it with a pain in my heart. Mehraji did not want to leave, but Baba took him aside and consoled him. Go now. It is my order. I am sending you with my blessing. And remember, even if you leave me, I will never leave you. Baba then asked Mehraji if he loved him. Mehraji replied, If I do not love you, how could I wish to remain here? Baba explained, obedience is higher than love, so carry out what I order you to do. Go now and remember that I am with you. Mehraji accepted and with tears in his eyes accompanied his father home. Kakabaria arrived at Mehrabad on the morning of December 19 and again expressed his wish to stay permanently with the master. Baba remarked, Now I think your chappals will fit. Me. Kaka was confident that Baba would now keep him in the ashram, believing himself worthy to stay with the master. But after 2 days, just as he was going to retire for the night, Baba asked him, Why are you going to sleep? Go to Bombay and deliver these copies of my message to my lovers there. Kaka had to return. This time, too, he could not find a place in Mehrabad. But all this testing was only to prepare him for his permanent stay. The pain and unfulfillment of his desire were necessary steps for that preparation. On December 20th, Baba emphasized to the boys, everything is in God, but the help of the Sadguru is needed in order to know and experience God. To illustrate this, Baba narrated the following story. This is Baba. Once in the jungle, a tigress died after giving birth to a cub. The cub remained hungry, without food or water for days. A shepherd found it and took pity on it. He reared it among his sheep. The cub grew up thinking it was a sheep. He did not know that he was a tiger. One day a grown-up tiger saw the cub playing among the flock and was surprised. He went to the cub and did his utmost to persuade it that it was a tiger and not a sheep. But the young tiger would not believe him. So the tiger took him to a pool of water and made him look at his own reflection there. At last was convinced of his true identity. He forgot the notion of his being a lamb and passed the rest of his days among tigers. In this story, the sheep represent worldly people who are ignorant of the truth. The flock of sheep represents the general public. The tiger cub is an ignorant man. The full-grown tiger is the Sadguru. The pool of water symbolizes the path, and recognizing the reflection is attaining God realization. Although the tiger cub was a tiger, out of ignorance it took itself to be a sheep. And as long as the other tiger did not show it its reflection in the pool of water, this misconception continued. In the same way, though man is potentially God, being quite ignorant of his real self, he thinks himself to be only a man and passes through cycles of births and deaths. He continues wallowing in ignorance until the Sadguru makes him see his own true image. From that day, the Prem Ashram school was reopened from 8 to 10 in the morning. On December 22nd, the name of the Hazrat Babajan High School was changed to the Hazrat Babajan English High School. Baba soon revised the schedule of the school. For the boys of Mehr Ashram, classes were held from 7 to 9 in the morning and again from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. For the Prem Ashram boys, school was set from 9 to noon, including Sundays. New bamboo sheds serving as classrooms were ready for occupancy, and the boys went there at sunset. Baba personally handed out books to each student that day. The previous few days, Baba had ordered Dara Hansosha to meditate early in the morning, but he was often disobedient. Later that day, Baba asked him, "Why didn't you meditate as I asked? I gave you special instructions about it." Dara complained that it was so bitterly cold at 3 a.m. that he could not concentrate well. Baba countered, "If cold makes you recede from the spiritual path, how will you ever progress? To complain about the extreme cold in winter, too much heat in summer, and rain in the monsoon is a tendency of human nature. If at any time pretexts are ready, how on earth are you going to progress in the path?" After this reprimand, Baba pardoned Dara and instructed him again to rise at 5 a.m. and meditate regularly by tying a cloth around his eyes and repeating God's name. This is a picture of one of the Prem Ashram boys in a state of meditation. Man, that must have been an awesome time to have been there, you know. You know, I mean, because really, you're with God and He's allowing you to find Him, you know. Because Baba never did this again, you know. On December 23rd, while giving a discourse about God realization, Baba revealed, "The velocity of the force of Maya is tremendous and requires stilling. That is, the force of Maya must come to a stop gradually. It takes 5 minutes for this to happen before realization." Wow. For example, a train coming into the station does not come to a halt all of a sudden. It slows down gradually after the momentum has stopped. Similarly, due to the speed of Maya, it takes 5 minutes before one realizes oneself to be God. Just before realization, the gross, subtle, and mental worlds all become still. But that continuous sound, "I am God, is there. But this is all beyond mind's comprehension." Yeah, I gotta just stop there, you know, because it's, wow. Because he's saying, it's like a train stopping, you know what I mean? So Maya can be compared to the train, you know what I mean? It has to be allowed to slow down during that 5 minutes so that the "I am God" can manifest.
Oh, in other words, it's so used to dominating.
Yeah, it's like a train just in motion all the time.
Wow. It's heavy stuff to it.
Yeah.
It's just great to just sit and ponder over that.
Yeah, but it's just, because I never thought of Maya as having this velocity.
Can you read that in the paragraph?
Sure.